Hello, 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 everyone. It's Kim from K&RP, and today I'd like to do some little paper heart ephemera with you. Valentine's Day's coming up. I like to use them in my journals. I like to send them out with Happy Mail, things like that. Today it is -6 Celsius here with a -9 wind chill factor, which is 22 Fahrenheit and 15.8 Fahrenheit is the wind with the wind chill. It's a little bit on the balmy side. It's Manitoba. This is quite nice weather for us. It is overcast, and with it being the cloud cover, it seems to keep the warmth in that little bit more. So, what I have done here and what I'd like to do with you is we're going to make some fun ephemera hearts. So, I have cut out some hearts from gel prints. These are these ones. And just some plain pink paper. And to make your hearts, as we did in kindergarten, you take a piece of paper, you fold it in half, and you cut out a heart shape. Like so. And then I like to glue it down on a big piece of paper because that way it's easier if you're doing some slow stitching on it or if you want to decorate them. Also because a lot of times when you do the gel printing, some of the backs are a little bit on the mucky side. So then you have to cover it anyway. This way they're already on a clean sheet. Although this was a piece of scrap paper, it was clean on that side. So this is what we're doing. I glued these down earlier so that they had a chance to dry. It's never fun sticking a needle through wet glue. It seems to bung it up a little bit. So as I say, you're just taking out the heart, cut it out of, it could be newspaper, magazines, book page. Let's do one out of a book page as well, and I can show you what we do with them to spice them up a little bit. You can use anything that you have on hand. Do not bother going out and buying things. We're going to do it on the cheap, so to speak. So let's just grab a book page. Again, I have this wonderful giant bicycle owner's manual. It's in various languages, and I'm just starting at the front and ripping out a page. Not worried about what it looks like because we're just going to cut it up. And we're going to use the side with the print, obviously. I'll use a bit larger scissors. Just make it into a little bit more manageable sized pieces. And again, we're just going to fold it. I don't want all this white, I don't think. So I'm going to fold it so that we have more text than white. This is going to be the back, so that amount of white is okay. I've got the heart shape. Hope everybody's having a good day and nobody's been hit with this crazy flu that's going around. I've got a few people in my life who have been hit with that craziness, and it takes a long time to get over for some reason. Again, we'll just cut another heart out of this one. The nice thing about cutting them out by hand like this is you're not going to get two the same unless you fold and cut two at the same time. But I don't bother because I like them being various sizes and shapes. Okay, so just a little bit of space here. I'll do a small heart for down there. Am I folding it on screen? Let's do it so that it's on screen. Again, I don't want lots and lots of white, so I'm folding it so that there's more of the text and illustrations. That's not small enough for there, but that's okay. And again, I am just using my poor old Elmer's glue all because it is my glue of choice. And on this page, it doesn't matter if you put them upside down, sideways, because once they're all decorated, we're going to be cutting them out and throwing them in the ready-to-use bin. Let's make this one much smaller. Let's go this way. Let's do it this way so we've got little ones. I started a course through a stitching group on Facebook. They're also not on Facebook. They've got, it's, what's it called? It is called the Textile Artists, and it's called Stitch Camp. So it's a mixed media camp for doing slow stitching, and I'm having an absolute blast doing that. If you go to Aunt Beck's Creations, she is doing a follow along with it. Oh, I did the wrong side. Rats. Okay, we'll stick it down on the paper here. And I'll do that with something else. Little one, little one. Print side up, Kim, print side up. Print side up, that side up. Glue the white side. Anyway, this stitching camp, you put paint down on fabric, and that would be your mark making, and then you cut it up into pieces and you stitch them together. You kind of find things that go together so that if I cut this, then I would take this red piece and it would match that red piece, and you stitch them together, and then you embroider on them. And I am having a lot of fun with that. This is the piece I am working on. So it's got various stitches. I've been doing French knots and just some blanket stitch, chain stitch. Don't know what it's going to be when it's complete, but it's definitely keeping me amused. And that's kind of what led to this project today, because I am low on stitched hearts, stitched paper hearts. Okay, I have, this is a header from an old 2015 day planner. I'm going to cut some hearts out of that. Anything is useful for this. They don't have to be pink. They don't have to be red. They could be purple. They could be green. They could be orange. Nobody said that hearts have to be pink. But because that seems to be the acceptable, I do that in pink because it seems to be what people expect. And we'll cut this into half, sort of. We'll get a couple of smaller hearts. And again, just folded the paper in half. Cut out a heart shape. Doesn't matter if it's fat, long, narrow, you know. It's just to add a little bit of whimsy. We can add feathers. You can add flowers. You can add whatever you like. But for now, I'm just doing them in pink. I have some other ones that I have done, and they are like the ones I was using the other day when I was working on the I Love to Read journal. Those are my scrappy hearts. All my little bits that I save, I glue them down onto a piece of paper, and flip it over backwards so I can't see what I'm doing, and then I cut tags and things out of it. I had a piece of pink construction paper, and it seems to have disappeared. There it is. There it is. There it is. We're just going to cut some little hearts out of that. Again, because I taught kids crafts for so many years, I've got all these little bits of construction paper. And again, just cutting hearts. So this stitch camp, back to that, I'm jumping around like a rabbit here. It's a 5-day course, and it started with day 1. You paint your fabric, and then day 2, you chop them up and put them together. And day 3, you start to stitch. So I'm on day 3 where I am stitching. I have no idea what day 4 and 5 bring, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have some wee little hearts. Hearts nice to throw in with a card. If you're sending somebody a card, you know how people throw confetti in, and confetti makes such a mess. Well, if you've got some little handmade hearts, it's not like having confetti. Let's see if I can stick these ones in the bare spots. Maybe I should, yeah, let's just glue it. This point is rounded for some reason. Didn't quite. But who's to say it has to be pointy, right? And do I have... I could smush that one in there. You fit here, upside down, right side up, angle. Spent the day yesterday working on that journal. I did a little bit of painting. I have a painting project I'm working on. The rest of the day was spent on the journal. I'm going to cut this one a little bit smaller. Nobody's visiting me in chat. That's okay. I don't have a set streaming schedule. I kind of do it when I'm up to it. There. Being careful that I don't go over the white page from the book. Let's see if I can get a couple of little ones. Little ones. So I've got all these projects on the go, and the husband has been working in the shop and been bringing me things to work on, which is fine. But it just means I kind of have to shift gears and get a different creative process going, because I don't know if I want to decoupage, paint. Not sure. I'll show you what he has brought me to play with. Just a couple more little hearts, and then I will grab what he has brought me to show you while we let this glue settle just a little bit. Oh, that's more like a moth or something. Doesn't matter. It's a heart and it's cute, and it'll be even cuter when I'm done. And another one. just do this one, and we will call this page of hearts complete. All right. Last one. I'm sure you found that totally enthralling, watching me cut hearts and glue. So we've got the page done. There are the book pages, construction paper. This is just a fluorescent copy paper, gel prints, gel prints, gel prints. Okay, we'll let that dry. I'm going to grab that new project that I have. He makes these wonderful little jewelry boxes, and they have drawers. Just taking the elastics off because he glued the lid on. Oh, how does the drawer go? It goes like this. So he does these lovely little jewelry boxes. They're wood. And the drawers come out. We do put knobs on them. And quite often he flocks the inside, which means he puts that fuzzy stuff inside the drawers. And as I say, I'm not sure if I want to glue, paint, or decoupage paint. That's a thought for another day. Okay, let's back to the hearts. So the first thing I want to do is these hearts are really plain. Let's liven them up a little bit. I have some paint because I've always got paint around. You could use markers. You can draw lines on them. Show you. You can doodle. But I just want to do a little bit of livening up, a little bit of paint. I have some punchinella, which is that shiny stuff that they punch sequins out of. It's a plastic thing. And then they sell these on a roll. Somebody gifted this piece to me. It's the only one I have, so I appreciate it. We'll just do some pink spots. We'll do that on the white ones, a little bit of pink spots. Just adding a little bit of character, whimsy, texture, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't have to be in a specific pattern, no real rhyme or reason to it. Just add some spots. If you do not have paint and punchinella, which I'm sure many of you do not, there's nothing Oh, let's make a real mess. We're fine, we're fine. Now, we'll just put that to the side. If you do not have, where's a clean place? Let's put it on the floor over here, and then I'll step in it later. You can use markers, gel pens, whatever you have on hand, pencil crayons. You can take a marker and let's just draw some swirls, a couple of straight lines. Maybe a nice curve on this one. Oh, fingers in the paint. Nothing new in my world. And you don't have to be overly fussy, just make some marks, folks. Just make some marks. That's a pink. Let's use a blue. I'll draw some circles in blue. Wherever there's space, I didn't leave much space, but that's okay. And it's always nice to do this once they're backed, because if you're just going to cut them out and use them, a lot of times you get some bleed through. I don't want to add anything to these. Well, maybe the red ones. Let's add something to the red ones. You don't have to add to every single one. What else? Let's try another color. I've got green. Will green show? Green will show on the white ones. Let's add green dots between. Doesn't show very good. I'm just using Sharpie markers. You can use water markers, whichever. Oh, these are Bic. A mixture of Bic and Sharpie. Let's do some circle things. Down here. Let's just do some. Green doesn't show very much green when you're doing it on the fluorescent pink. Kind of looks brownish, but that's okay. It's perfectly fine. I've got this nice orange. Let's add orange like this. And this one, let's add some orange circles. Let's fill that whole thing with orange circles. And let's do some orange stripes on this one. Oh, there's a heart down here I've done nothing on. Must feel a little bit left out. Got a little bit of the pink paint at the bottom there. I have a red marker. Just do some doodling. Just do some doodling. Who else wants something? Who else? Doesn't really show on the red. A little bit. It shows just, I don't know if you can see that, just a little bit. But that's okay. All right. So we've done some marks. Let's take a black. I have a black. What are you? It's a Bic Z. Not sure exactly what that is. And let's just outline some of these paint splotches. I'd love to know what you guys are all working on. Nobody's here. That's okay. All is good. So yes, back to this stitch camp. It reminded me that I needed some hearts with some stitching on them. That's what led to this project. I like doing some slow stitching on paper for my journals. And hearts are always fun to work on. And I know a lot of people don't like hearts. I get it. It's all's good. All right. So I've made some marks. Everything's good. So now I'm going to take, that's ready for me doing my other stitching project. I'll take this needle. It's a big needle, big eye. And I'm going to use this really fine crochet cotton, this doily thread. And yeah, it's going to leave big holes in the paper, but you know what? That's okay too. I don't normally tie a knot in it, but today I'll tie a knot. Because, of course, when you're gluing it down, that's going to add bulk to your journal. So let's start up here with this one. And I think I want to do like a star kind of pattern, just one of these. Can you see that? Looks like a spider. Going to do that. And to do that, I find when you stitch on paper, it's always best to poke the holes from the top. It just seems to work better. 2, 3, 4. I didn't leave enough room. We'll just go longer. All is good, and one in the middle. So I'm going to come up from the middle. And just work my way around. Into that hole. Back to the middle. And into this hole. And we've got a knot. But that's okay, it came out. So this isn't quite the way I drew it. This is more like a flowery kind of thing. I will do that on the next one. Sometimes I'll put a bead in, sometimes I'll put a sequin in, sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 of these. The thing is it adds a little bit of whimsy and just a touch of class or whatever you want to call it. See, isn't that cute? And if you put this in a journal and do some doodle stitching around it and outline it in black, it just adds a little bit of character. And I know so many of you just can't be bothered spending this amount of time doing this kind of stuff. But for me, it just gives me a lot of pleasure. All right. So for the next one, I will do that star thing. I will post in my Facebook group, Meet Your Creativity. I will put a link below for it. And I will show you them all finished and cut out. I am just going to keep doodling and stitching until I am happy with them. So I'm going to do this one. This one I will definitely do that star thing. Doesn't matter which hole you start in. You just make sure you go across to the hole opposite. And remember, once these are glued down, the stitching will stay in place. You can use any kind of thread for this. Sewing thread, embroidery floss. Just add something, a little bit of something. I love having lots of hearts on hand. It's amazing how many you can go through in a journal, or if you're doing ATCs or whatever you're doing. So now I have a very short piece of thread. I could either toss it or use it as a fringe underneath something else I'm working on, or I can just sew with a single thread and it will be finer. So what am I going to do? How about on this heart here, I'm just going to do like a running stitch. 2 rows of like a running stitch. That's the one with the red lines on that you can't see. And because it's just a single piece of thread, a knot won't work. So I'm going to have to hold it. So a running stitch is down and then up in the next hole. Oh, needle came unthreaded. It happens, it happens. A lot of my thread is so old because I haven't been doing any sewing for so long that when you work with it, it curls, like it gets all knotted underneath and gets all curly, and it gets frustrating. So you have to kind of dangle the needle. And then we'll come up the next row. If I was using a finer needle, this finer needle, and the white thread, I could get more stitches in. See, isn't that cute? Little bit of whimsy, just a little bit of whimsy. So have I left enough? No. I'm going to try and tie these together. If not, I will put glue on the backs to hold the threads in place. Quite often I do that anyway because if I'm throwing them in a bin, I don't need them to come unstitched after I've spent this time doing the stitching. Just a regular knot. Right over left, left over right, you know. I don't know what that knot is called. It's just a regular, everyday knot. Very short. No nails. Dry glue fingers. Okay, it doesn't want to tie. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little dab of glue. Like that. And that will hold it. Okay, so I have done this kind of flower thing. I've done the star. I've done a little bit of a running stitch. I've got this little bit of thread left. This one I will use or throw out. I'm so bad at saving little bits like that I end up with so much of it. And my kids just kind of shake their heads going, Mom, you don't really need that. But it could be useful one day. I guess that's what comes from being raised by somebody who grew up in the dirty 30s where you didn't throw anything out. Because everything had a purpose. You could repurpose everything. Absolutely everything. And I get it. I do. I'm the same way. Like, why throw things out? I think that's, quilt making and those kinds of things. I really appreciate all the work and the frugalities of it. Frugality, is that a word? Uh-oh, double knotted it. It's going to be a bit lumpy. Okay, so let's, on this one, with the blue lines, I think I'm going to go between the blue lines and just add some holes. Paper punching like this. Do you remember doing that as a kid? We used to do this and do like Christmas cards and things, and you'd have this raised thing. I taught paper punching. I have a bunch of tools that my husband made so that I could teach the people how to do that. We had a lot of fun. They would draw a picture in pencil and then poke holes and then erase the pencil. Maybe I should do some hearts like that. I'll think about it. I will think about it. All right. So I'm going to, again, just do a running stitch down this. I did them much closer together. I understand central U.S. is expecting a big snowstorm. Quite often when they get one, it comes up here. I'm hoping we don't get smacked with the amount of snow that they're expecting there. See, just adds a little bit of something. And I don't know if you're like me and you have all kinds of craft supplies of various kinds. Just a needle and thread for repairing a seam or putting a button on can all be used. Can all be used to do this. You could use yarn. You could use whatever your heart desires. And let's just do a knot. Oh, that didn't tie tight enough. Didn't tie close enough. Helps if you put your thumb right against. Oh, I've caught that other thread in it. Doesn't want to play nice. It happens. It happens. I never said I was a professional. Let's try this. There. Now I've got a big, ugly knot. Oh, did you pull out? It did. It ripped that last stitch out. Okay, let's just make a new one. Oh. Yay for twisty threads. Okay, just went on either side of that holes that I had and pulled out. Made a little bit bigger stitch, which is fine. Who's to say I didn't mean to do it like that? Do the knot. And because that's such a mess, I'm just going to right away put some glue on that and hold it in place because of the extra holes. All right. So again, still got thread left on the needle. Look for another heart that I want to embellish. Maybe another star over here on this one. Why not? Why not? I'd also like to know how many of you had the progression to mixed media like I've had. I used to knit and crochet, and I've painted, and I've carved, and I've quilted, and I've drawn. All self-taught. My dad did quite a bit of art when I was growing up. Picked up my love of carving from him. I no longer do that because my hands just don't work the way they used to. And we're going to make this star thing again. So I'd really appreciate to know your progression for how you came to mixed media, or if it's just something that you've started doing and you really like doing. I think a lot of my love of it comes from the fact that I can do a page of this and it's done, and it's little things and it's ready to go. I don't have to spend a month doing one thing, like if you were crocheting a blanket or a sweater or something, that takes a fair bit of time. I'm in love with being able to create little bits of things, and they'll be completed in a day. It just, gives me a lot of joy. I found a saying, that says, my crafting time is for your safety. And that really hit home because I've always said if I'm not creating, I'm liable to bite someone. All right. I don't know how well this shows on that purple. It will show nice on that. Maybe I need a darker color for some of those. I've been doing this for 43 minutes. Nobody's come to visit. That's all right. I know that there are other people streaming at this time, but it seems to me like there's always somebody else streaming. So I just come in when I feel up to it. Okay, so that will show on this. Let's do on this one. I have an idea. Oh, that's not glued down very well. That's okay. I will glue it and cut it later. I think I want to go this way this time. I want to leave a bit of string. Okay. Then I'll go across to the next hole. Yes, that's the way it'll work. And I'm going to do it kitty corner. Kitty corner, catty corner, How do you say it? At an angle. At an angle. And of course, I don't measure. I just stuck the holes in. That's the nice thing about this. If somebody's really going to look that hard at what I have done, so be it. If they can't appreciate the whimsy of it and the time it took to figure out what I wanted to do on each and every little heart, that's fine. I do it as much for me as I do it for anything else. So I'm making X's. Okay, so since there's that, I kind of have to hold it so that it doesn't pull through. Pull back the other way. And then I'm going to tie this in a bow. Maybe. Paint, glue, what else have I got on my fingers? That was a rhetorical question. There, I've got a little bow. Kind of cute. Kind of cute. Let's just make these loops a little bit smaller. Both of them at once, preferably. It's okay. Looks fun. Looks fun, looks fun. And then once it's in the journal, or even before I put it in the journal, I could glue little dots on the bottom of the strings for the heart. Let's see if you can see that. Very light. Very light, very light. All right. Well, I will only bore you for another 12 minutes. No, let's go this way. Gonna treat this one kind of like a button. Just put the 2 holes in. Again, you're limited just by your imagination. Just tie a knot, just so it stays in place. And even that, just 2 little holes, pull it through, do it like you would a button, tie a knot, have some threads dangling, take some glitter glue and put it on the ends of the threads, and it will be very cute. Then I just have this little piece left, so I think I'll just do the same kind of thing on this one. Maybe just up at this corner though. Again, let's just take that down to a single thread. I'm going to go from the front. So I've got the danglies. I could do it a couple of times. And there's no one saying that you can't do them all with this kind of a stitch or with a little bit of a running stitch or this. You could do them whichever way you want. These are your hearts. They're just to add a little bit of character to whatever you're working on. Use what you have. Don't go out and buy anything. Put a button on there. Put a sequin. Put beads. Whatever you feel like adding. In fact, I think I'm going to add some sequins. Yes. And I like stitching my sequins on, not gluing them. But I will do that when I am offline because I'll still have hearts to decorate by the time this is done. Oh, let's use a different thread. Let's change threads. Let's use this white. This thread has been winding up on me when I've been using it. So I want to just use short lengths of it so that it doesn't get quite so tangled. Put that needle in there because we don't need any big Horkin needles stuck in your foot, my foot, or my butt, or whatever. I never did find that key that I used, I glued up for those ATCs I was working on. I never did find it. That's okay. So I did running stitch there. These ones are done. Let's do a running stitch on this one. I've got the 2 blue lines, but let's do a running stitch down this edge. We'll poke the holes. Tie a knot. Every thread is going to give a different characteristic. If you use a heavier thread, like a crochet cotton, and that was a finer crochet cotton, I can't even remember what weight that is compared to this other stuff. I am fortunate enough that I get a lot of that kind of thing at the local thrift store. I also have friends who have kindly donated to my cause. See, we're already having an issue here. Oh, thread, oh, thread. I'll do this one and then sign off. I will show you the difference, on how just a regular sewing thread looks compared to West Untwist, the crochet cotton. See, it's much finer than the crochet cotton because it's much lighter weight thread. I don't know. Can you see? Either way, it adds something, a little bit of something different. I know everybody's tendency is to run for paint, a little bit of lace. I can stitch lace down if I want. Anybody can, you use what you have. I have lots of lace. Maybe I'll add some. I don't know. But as I say, this is a great base start for building up a stash of ephemera that is very cost effective. All right. So we've cut out some hearts and we've doodled some hearts, and I will keep playing with threads, and I will add some sequins and other bits of things, and I will put that in my Meet Your Creativity group. I will put the link in the description, and that's it. I hope everybody has a wonderful day and stays warm, and hopefully the storm doesn't affect you too much, and that'll be it. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.